A couple of weeks ago, I did a review on the Radtel RT-880 Ham HT. There were a couple of features I mentioned but couldn't squeeze into that review. Let's fix that now. The Radtel RT-880 is one of several new Ham HTs that have some premium features that make them stand out in the marketplace. As we saw in the previous review, it has 3 displays instead of the normal 2 for dual-band HTs, as well as a whole boatload of variables you can program to customize the radio to your liking. There were 2 powerful features I wanted to call out more specifically. First is its crossband repeater function. This feature allows you to select a simplex frequency in both the 2-meter and 70-centimeter bands in the top 2 display windows. As we'll see in a second, when you turn the UV repeater option on in the menus, the radio will instantly repeat what it hears on one display channel or frequency on the other. Since the RT-880 outputs more power than the typical 5-watt HT, when you add an external antenna on the mast or hanging from a tree branch, you can give yourself considerably more range. I sometimes clip an Ed Fong dual-band J-pole on my RV's flagpole to get some extra height. This arrangement works well at your campsite, hunting lease, or when supporting a community event such as a 5 or 10K run. Do an internet search for the band plans for your state or area for both bands to help you decide on a frequency pair that will minimize interference with other 2-meter and 70-centimeter activities. Here's a quick clip of a short test with my RT-880. I'm using the call frequencies for this very brief test only to help simplify the concept for you. You should use a pair of simplex frequencies. Note the receive indicators on the 2 example radios when transmitting. So I've got these 3 radios out here. This is the 880. And you can see I've got it set at the UHF call and the VHF call on the lower ones. You wouldn't normally set that way, but just to better demonstrate what we're going to do, and we're only going to trip the push to talk for a moment or two, I've done that. So on this radio, I've got it set to UHF call. This radio, I've got it set to the 2-meter VHF call. And so if I transmit here, this is going to light up, and then this one is going to come on. So let's do a quick press to talk here. I've got these all on low power, although the radios are obviously awfully close together. But again, it's just to kind of watch the display. So here we go. So you can see this one's transmitting, and this one's receiving. Now, if we go the other way, you don't have to go one direction. So this one is the 2-meter, and so I'm going to press this one. This will light up, and then this one will also show that it's receiving in the UHF call channel. So here we go. So that's the crossband repeat, and that's how you do it. Again, just for demonstration, I've used these call channels. You wouldn't normally do that, but you can set your radios to either one. The direction doesn't matter. It will take whatever it receives and transmit in the other band. If you're finding this video helpful, please do me a favor and click the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel if you haven't already. It really helps with YouTube, and I really appreciate it. Now, the second feature in the RT-880 is probably the one you were most interested in when purchasing the radio or when considering to purchase it. That's using the radio as a multi-band receiver that includes the long wave, medium wave, and shortwave bands. For this to work well, you'll need an alternate antenna connected to the female SMA connector under the knob in the center of the middle of the top of the radio. This can be a loop antenna like the MLA-30 or just a long wire connected to an SMA adapter of some type. In this upcoming clip, I'll be using one of those little donut antennas that came with a small HF receiver. Let's take a look at how to access those bands on the RT-880 and how to set some frequencies. So we get into those lower bands on the RT-880. You see I've got a little donut antenna attached here. And I've got one of my side keys programmed to move into the FM radio mode. You have to move into that radio mode first. So I'm going to press that. It says starting radio. And then up here in that area that's probably pretty hard for you to see, it says MW, which is medium wave, and then it says 520 to 1710. So that's basically the AM band here in the US. And so let me see if I can find a radio station here in that area. So I can just press up. I can see here that I'm getting something. Let me put it up. As I move away from some of the electronics around my desk, you'll be able to hear that.
State of affairs in your retirement. That's not advice. That's neglect wrapped in a very pricey fee.
So that is just a finance show on a local AM radio here this morning. Now, we use the little VM button down here to change the area where we're dealing with here, or where the hashtag is. So let's press that. And so after a long press on the hashtag, it comes up with long wave in the 153 to 279 area. And again, you can move through these frequencies typing directly or using the up and down. But I want to change it, so I'm going to do a long press. Now it's in the FM band. And this is the broadcast band. This is more about the antenna than the radio. Another long press. Now I'm in the shortwave band, and you can see here I've got 14.270. If I wanted to go up into higher bands, I can just, key that in. So let's take a look at there we are in 40 meters. You can see the noise, and then the frequency range is set for shortwave, and the frequency range is set from 2 to 30 megahertz. So you can go all the way up in those ranges, 27. That's up in 11 meters. You might be able to pick up a CB station up there. It says AM right there. I know this is kind of hard to see, but the information is there. And so there's one more thing. As we looked at some of those channels, they were AM. Now you can see I've got it set to lower sideband. And the way you change the modulation is a short press. And so it's going to come up and say it's resetting the radio. And then when it comes back, that letter there in parentheses is going to be different. Change to USB, CW, lower sideband, USB, and then if you were chasing AM, commercial broadcasts in HF, you'd end up having to do a long press and kind of start over. It'll come up in AM. So there you can see it's in AM. A short press here causes it to reset, and then you'll get those other demodulation schemes available via a short press. So lower, upper, and CW. So that's how you access and how you maneuver within the expanded receive range here in the RT-880. Here's the radio connected to an outside antenna to give you a better understanding or sense of what the receive capability is. This is an advertisement in the AM band here. Now let's switch up to a different band. Hopefully you can hear this. This is some CW. I've got the mode set to CW. I was just following along with some POTA spots to find one, and here's the guy doing POTA. He's pretty easy to hear. Obviously there's a lot of noise in the background, but you can certainly hear the CW coming through. And here's the ever popular FT8. You hear that coming through? Join me over here for my full review of the Radtel RT-880. Also, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and 73.